welcome to Bro Joe Builds. And here at the garage, and thought I'd make a quick video just talking about what happened on the race weekend. Which all good things, right? The car ran well. The only thing that sucked was it's one of the last track days for Lebanon Dragway, and everybody and their mother was there, and they had like a few different things going on. So I only got to make 3 passes, and it was okay. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to, make any changes really, other than I just made 3 passes. I didn't touch the timing. I didn't play with the jetting or anything. It was about 2 hours in between every single pass, so it wasn't a good day for that. I do have 1 or 2 more days, track days coming at Island Dragway that I'll be taking advantage of and making passes there. But overall, the car picked up. I got another 10th and a half. Other than, and the car felt faster for sure. It felt faster, but then I figured out right away what might have been my problem this whole entire time. And after doing some more research, it was definitely my problem. So it's something that I learned, for sure. And I guess I share that with you, is the importance of a properly matched torque converter for your combination. Now, I was under the impression that the 5500 stall that was in the car would be, moderate. It should be about right for the car. And I was looking at it for around the point of where motor should probably make peak torque, give or take. But that's not how you pick a good torque converter. You generally pick a torque converter depending on peak horsepower and where you're going to shift the vehicle at. So 268 at 50 lobe, things like 304 or 306 advertised. On a 106, 370 cubes. This motor probably makes the peak around 72-ish, 7,300 RPMs. And, I have some over rev after that I'm sure that it's still carrying power. So in general, I will shift at 7,500 and the car would drop down onto the converter, 5,500. So it's a 2,000 RPM drop. And long story short, that's no bueno. You're trying to go fast. You want to keep that engine on the converter. You want to keep it in the power band. So on a Power Glide car, at least talking with the guy I went with, is Perfect Converter. They like to see what Power Glide car and my type of application. Again, there's a strip car. No more than like 800 RPM drop. So I'm looking more at 6,800 stall, give or take 68, 67. So I'm way understalled for this application. The converter was just too tight, and I felt it. And that's why the car hasn't been 60 footing whatsoever. Judging by the plug, this motor wants to be pulled back in timing a little bit too. That's all we're just doing right now. So there might be a little extra low end torque there as well. So yeah, the converter, it looks like it was my major issue. Was keeping me from reaching my goal. Because again, I felt it. The car will leave somewhat lazy. I thought the car should be 1.3 60 footers, or at least bottom 1.4s. And the car, the best was this past weekend with 1.46, which I was ecstatic. But I shouldn't have been too happy about it. But I mean, I was pretty happy. It made an improvement, moving in the right direction. And then there was an improvement to the eighth. The best 60 footer, the eighth mile was Sits 50 something, sits at 52, wherever. I'll post a time slip somewhere along this video. Maybe at the end again. So it improved there. It went back to a 104 mile an hour, and then the trap speed was 128. But I did notice that the car was pretty much it wasn't like pulling anymore, even though the motor was revving. So I'm pretty confident I'm just blowing through the converter. And after doing some maths, I'm definitely blowing through the converter some bit, but it may not because of how much power the motor is making. More or less is how the converter is loaded. So I learned some things throughout this whole process. So long story short, there's a converter already on its way. Converter's already on the works, and hopefully by the following weekend, the converter's already in the car, and I'm gonna make another go at it. Judging by the response from them, and including from what I've been researching, this car should pick up a lot, actually. So I don't want to get my hopes up too high, but everything's pointing towards, I should be pretty good. I should be pretty happy by the next couple of weeks. Next time I take the vehicle out. But other than that, motor back in the car. Motor sounds healthy. She rang flawlessly. Everything else is it's been fine. It's been great. So hopefully I have reached my goal, and I secured that 9-second pass, because 9 seconds with a combination this simple, I think is fairly impressive. And then we'll work from there. I have a friend that runs Super Stock, and he's put out a challenge to me. So who knows? This motor might stay inside his car just a little bit longer than anticipated. But again, I had the bid block for it. But it might stay in here a little bit longer, just so that the little personal challenge I have going, we could settle it to see if I could keep up with his car, which is a pretty cool car altogether. One day I'll put it. We'll make a video on the channel about it. But yeah, so everything's good. Motor's healthy. Excellent day at the track. For only 3 passes, it wasn't ideal, but the same, I didn't get to make any changes. But, and I guess I say this before I end. It wouldn't be worth making any changes if the time is so spread out like that, because you don't know if it's the weather affecting or if it's your change that is affecting. What is it to change something, and then if you get, let's say, 500ths, off the time, and you don't know if it's because the weather got worse or better, So the only time that it's good to make a lot of changes is if you're making passes, within the next 20 minutes or so. And even so, at 20 minutes, weather could change, but it gives you more consistency. So I know I could come back with the timing a little bit. I know I could come back with the jet a little bit, and the car should still continue to pick up. But torque converter is very important. And all right, so one thing I would like to add about torque converters, and again, it's something I learned, and I don't know how I'm going to stitch this and how it's going to sound like, but when it comes to slip values, like when you have a torque converter and understanding that slippage at the end of the track, sometimes it's not slipping because the converter is too loose. That sounds confusing, but it may be slipping because it could be not enough stall. And here goes a way that could happen. So the car launches, and this is an example of what's probably most likely happening with my car. Car launches, car engine gets pulled down to 5,500 RPMs. Now, the motor at 6,800 with a new converter is probably making another 100 horsepower than at 5,500. Give or take. I mean, it's probably a fair bit. So the motor gets pulled down to 5,500, and now it has to pull its way back up to, you know, the sweet spot and pull all the way up till I make another shift and it drops down to 5,500 RPMs, where it pulls out of its power range and it has to pull its way back. So during that time period where it's at sitting at 5,500 and trying to accelerate its way up during the launch and during the shift point, you're losing time accelerating. Meaning, it's like the engine's not making the same horsepower there as it is at 6,800, let's say. So the car is not accelerating as fast. So the converter is seeing more load at the other side of the track. So when you're going through the traps, the converter is seeing more load than if it would if the car was to accelerate quickly throughout that whole power range. That may sound confusing. Hopefully not too confusing. So this same scenario, 6,800 saw, the car launches. Now the car launching, I'm at 6,800 RPM as soon as I go that traction brake button. The engine's much happier at 6,800 than it was at 5,500. You know, the engine's making closer to its peak power. So it's pulling from 6,800 to 7,500, 7,600, 7,800. I could probably shift it a little higher now. You know, give or take. I'll see where the sweet spot is, but I can shift it at 7,500 now. And when I shift it at 7,500, the car is going to drop down to 6,800. And at 6,800, this engine is now making much more steam. It's still, we're making power now, and it's going to keep accelerating to the other end of the track. So, in general, this converter, the new converter, may be looser as a higher stall, but maybe tighter at the end of the track. So before I was trapping 7,800 to 8,000 RPMs. I was losing a fair bit into slippage at that point. This looser converter, stall-wise, higher stall, meaning higher stall, may slip less at the other end of the track. I may go through the traps at 7,400. So like I may the converter may be actually tighter at the end of the track, even though the converter itself stall-wise is looser. Make sense? Hopefully I made that make sense. I'll fit this piece in at some point in the video, and hopefully I didn't sound too crazy. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and hopefully soon I'll be making another pass, hopefully with much better video quality and more in-car video. I got another GoPro, so we'll have more in-car, we'll have more shots, angles that day, and hopefully we get that 9. That's what I'm looking for. I really I'm kind of excited. I really think it's gonna happen soon. So again, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. Take care, guys.